Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, good. Okay, thank you. My Dhamma brothers and sisters, today I would like to give a talk on a theme called freedom of the heart, using Metta as the method. So the talk is freedom of the heart and mind, using Metta, loving kindness. Kind of following up on what I said last time on Sunday about compassion, because Metta is part of the four Brahma Viharas. So I thought of speaking of Metta, since I've already talked about compassion. Metta or Maitri, you have heard this before, I think many times. Metta, it's a quality of the heart that wishes for the welfare and happiness of all beings. That's what we can do. The definition, wishing the welfare and happiness for all beings. Very simple. Over the years, since the dawn of history, human beings love each other actually. But at the same time, they do some kind of conflicting things. They build what we call fences around themselves. Throughout the history, that's what human beings have done, building fences around themselves. This is my family, this is my nation, this is my continent. So it's like that. And then this became a problem. And this, you can see it physically, actually. Maybe not in Melbourne. Actually, I'm so impressed about Melbourne. How you have these fences around your homes is just to stop actually small animals from going to your fence. In countries I've been to, Harare, in Zimbabwe, those who have been to Africa, those who have been to Brazil, Sao Paulo, those who have been to Kenya, Uganda is starting. Fences are really like electric laser, really. Terrible. Really terrible. Whenever I look at those fences, I really want to really cry, actually. What have we done to our human being? Where are we going as human beings, actually? You know? So for me, I'm always fascinated when I come to Melbourne, when I saw these fences just to stop rabbits. Maybe you have a lot of Metta. Basically, what we want to do is to build bridges. Physically and psychologically, we need to build bridges, psychological bridges, to reach out to all beings without exception. This is what motivated the Buddha to teach, actually. The whole motivation about the Buddha to teach was also loving kindness. It's part of the parami, the perfection, one of the 10 paramis. The Buddha had to perfect many years to become a Buddha. So it's a Bodhisattva. At that time he was a Bodhisattva, he wasn't yet a Buddha. He had to perfect this parami, Maitri. So really, literal meaning of the word Metta means friendship, actually. But now we got stuck with the translation, loving kindness. Somebody from England, I think, translated that. And in the Bible, actually, we find that word. I searched it. There's also the word loving kindness. So then the question, like last time I asked, what's the difference between loving kindness and the loving kindness Buddhist practice? Luckily, this discourse is going to help us. Last time when I was talking about compassion, I didn't have a good resource. But now for this topic, I have a very good resource to see how loving kindness in Buddhist tradition is quite different from loving kindness in African tradition, or spiritual traditions, religious traditions. It's quite different. And we're going to illustrate this very soon. But I would like to tell you my experience of practicing loving kindness, because loving kindness is about radiating this quality of the heart and the mind to others and wish them happiness and welfare. So one time I was in Uganda. Many things happen in Uganda. I don't know if you know that. As the only monk in Uganda, I get so many things happening there. So one time I went to the Munis. It's like a Korean group in Uganda. Very kind, actually. We are very close to them. In fact, they are giving us a space to conduct yoga classes for free of charge. But a few years ago, I went to that organization to say hello. And then I met a lady there. The lady is from Guyana. I think it's French Guyana, somewhere in Central, I think it's in South America, very close there. So then I say, hello. I say, yes, hello, how are you? Long time no see. I say, very busy. I told her that I've been very busy, but I said, okay, goodbye, I'm going to the United States. I said, before you go, I want to say something to you. That's what she told me. I said, what? I said, oh, Bhante, I'm very sorry. I said, why are you sorry? I said, oh, you're going to go to hell. That's what she told me. She told me, I'm very sorry for you, you're going to go to hell. I said, why? Oh, Bhante, you're not married. That's what she told me. I said, is that a problem? Yes, it's a problem. Big problem, because that actually tradition is a Christian, part of Christian sect, which do mass marriage. They do like 1,000 marriage at the same time, intermarrying people from Japan into any kind, Russian, doesn't matter. But it doesn't have to be the same nationality. He aims at actually different nationalities, so that in fact for him, he thought that doing so is building bridges. In fact, he has that idea of building bridges from Africa to build a bridge to America, build a bridge physically. That's what I had, that he has this idea of actually building physical bridges to connect all countries, so that there should be no wars. They should see each other as together, because maybe there's continental drifting where continents were separated and people see themselves as different. So he wants actually to build physical bridges. But before he does that, he wants actually to intermarry people so that they cease to be different. Right? That's the idea. Now the lady told me that I'm going to go hell because I'm not married. Then I say, what about monks in Sri Lanka? They say yes. I said, what have they done? They have done nothing. They are not because they're not married, they are going to hell. And then I say, what about monks in Thailand? He said, yes, of course. What about in Burma? Of course. They said, me, I haven't done anything at the Uganda Buddhist Center. I teach, I provide free water to people, I have a Dhamma peace school. I'm helping people say, all that doesn't count actually. What really counts to go to heaven is to get married. Now he really challenged me actually. I said, what am I going to do? This is a friend actually, who is really sorry. I said, okay, I remembered Metta, loving kindness, the quality of the heart that wishes for happiness and welfare for others. I said, okay, yes, don't worry. If all monks in Burma, Thailand, Sri Lanka, and me, one monk from Uganda, go to heaven, then you are not going to enjoy heaven. It's going to be overcrowded. So yes, for us we are going to hell. That's good actually. That's good for you. Yes, now I really, honestly wish her to really have happiness in heaven. Because for them, she has a one-way ticket actually. No return ticket. But for us, as Buddhists, we have a return ticket. When we go to hell, we have a round-trip ticket actually. You can always come back, no problem. because I relied on the strength of having a round trip ticket, I was confident to wish her happiness, to enjoy, you know. So no problem, enjoy. So now, actually this would happen to my mother. A few years ago we had a watchman, and at night, and because we didn't have fence and people were disturbing us, so we had a watchman just looking around the property if there's anything go wrong, and so he was there. One time the watchman asked my mother, "What's happening to my boss?" Because that's what the watchman thought, I'm a boss, I'm his boss. They said, "Oh," my mother asked, "What's wrong?" Oh, the watchman said, "You know, I don't know what's happening to my boss. Always he's dressed in one dress. He's very poor. Every time I see him in the same clothes. From 1 month, 2 months, wearing the same one cloth. What's wrong? Does it not get dirty or something like that?" My mother said, "Oh, if you have a lot of compassion for your boss, give him some trousers and shirts." My mother didn't know. Also, it's very interesting. She has some kind of sense of humor, because I didn't expect her to tell the watchman to give. Because the watchman was also complaining, had another complaint that I don't sleep, because I used to wake up at 4:30 in the morning a.m. and just put on light and meditate. Then also he lodged a complaint to my mother. That's what's wrong with my boss, doesn't sleep. So you can see my mother also sent loving kindness. She didn't want to struggle with this person. He just, okay, no, please, practice metta. Give him some clothes. So this happens. So this is the quality of the heart I found in many people, and it's amazing. So, but let's go through the sutta to show you how different, actually, how different this loving kindness from different traditions. If you remember last time during my talk, I said we can make a distinction between this quality of the heart and mind, like metta, loving kindness, and many other teachings of the Buddha, that how different they are from other teachings is that you have to remember this, that it's a basis and support. Whatever the quality of the mind, whether it's faith or generosity, loving kindness, this, in case we are talking about loving kindness, it's a basis and support for the cultivation of ethical conduct. It's the basis and support. Metta is the basis and support for the cultivation of concentration. Metta is the basis and support for the cultivating of wisdom. So it's not like one quality of mind there and a quality of the heart and mind hanging there in the air, like, okay, it's metta, loving kindness, or loving kindness, or loving kindness. No, no, no. For us, we have to put it in a context, and it's going to become very clear in this sutta. That's why I want to give a few comments on this discourse. Very beautiful discourse. This is what you please refer to it. I'm going to show you how actually this loving kindness is a basis and support for the cultivation of ethical conduct. So this is how it starts, this sutta. This is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech. What does that remind you in terms of ethics? Is it not the 5 precepts? Is it not the right speech and right action? We're talking about gentle speech. So you can see the foundation is ethical conduct, actually. In fact, this discourse has 14 qualities in terms of ethics. Humble, you can even count. The 13 are positive and only one negative one. Okay? Humble, these are the qualities you should possess if you want to have this quality of the mind. And not conceited. To be contented, big time in terms of ethics. You have to be contented. Contented with what's suitable, with what is available, and with what's within one means. So this is the 3 kinds of contentment. Contented with what's available. We should be contented with what's available. We should be contented with what is suitable. And also we should be contented with what's within one means, actually. In fact, the Buddha said that the contentment is the highest wealth. Yes. So this is the qualities, ethical conduct, and then easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, and frugal in their ways, peaceful, and calm, and wise, and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Almost, there are 13 qualities of regarding ethics. So metta becomes the foundation for the practice of ethics. And ethics become the foundation for the practice of loving kindness. So because there the Buddha is laying the foundation for you, he said that that's what you should cultivate before actually you radiate loving kindness. The negative part of ethics here, stated in negative terms, is let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Actually, this part is very, very important. It's one of the 3 priorities. Even in our discussion last time, we talked about the 3 priorities. One is called priority about oneself, then priority about the world, then priority according to the Dhamma. So those are called priorities. Atta di pateya in Pali. Atta, self. Atta di pateya. That's about priority about yourself. Then about influence about yourself. Hiri and Otapa. Moral shame and moral fear. Okay, saying, what will happen? How people are going to see when they see me acting like that, right? So it's about yourself, right? Me, I'm a Buddhist. How am I going to do these things? Other fellow Buddhists are going to say, other fellow human beings are going to reprove this kind of thing. But there's also what we call loka. Loka di pateya, which means influence of the world, public opinion. Even authorities here, actually. If you drive zigzag like this, the authority will catch you. The world will say, no, you should be careful. So I heard that here people, the traffic is very serious. When you're driving, they can withdraw your driving license if actually you're driving the way you think is right. So this is about the world. The world has certain standards, right? The wise people, those who are practicing Dhamma, then the government authorities, law enforcement authorities, all this pertain to the world. So we do something, we have to look at what the world also will think about. Whether you're a wife, a husband, sister, brother, monk, not monk, nun, no. So there are certain ways of behavior that you have to think about also what the other people are going to think about you. All right? This is what it is here. This one in Metta, this is what we call loka dipateya. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. This part of ethics. In fact, this is a way how to distinguish what is skillful and unskillful, wholesome and unwholesome, using those standards. There's yet another standard which is not mentioned here, but probably later on. It's called Dhamma. Dhamma dipateya. Dhamma is using the standard of Dhamma. That is this according to the Dhamma? Huh? Is it in accordance to the Dhamma? That means you're doing something that leads to your happiness, the happiness of others, and the happiness of both. Then if you're doing something of that nature, in terms of ethics, then it's actually in accordance to the Dhamma. Huh? You say Imaya, I think you have said it somewhere before. In according to the Dhamma, then I practice according to the Dhamma. Imaya Dhamman Patipateya. Buddham Pujemi, Dhamma Pujemi, Sangha Pujemi. So in accordance to the Dhamma, I practice like this. So anyway, those are the 3 things that you have to remember on the influence about yourself, the world, and then to the Dhamma. This statement is very, very important. To decide whether something is going to be skillful or non-skillful, we have to know also whether the wise are going to censor or they are going to reproach. Okay, let's continue with the discourse. Whatever living beings there may be, whether are weak, strong, or meeting none, the great the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. This is actually very interesting that the way of radiating this kind of loving kindness, it actually builds bridges towards all beings without exception. And that's one meaning of metta actually, Maitri, metta. It means also sun, the sun. Another meaning for the metta is sun. The sunshine, when it shines, it doesn't shine only to Aussies only, or Kiwis. No, it goes all the way to Africa, even in all parts of the countries you don't know, it just shines. It doesn't choose, oh, I'm going to shine only to tall people, or only to the small people. No, no, no. It just shines. So this actually reminds us the quality of the metta actually. It's like sunshine. And also sunshine, it has that quality of warmness. Right? Warmness. You feel warm when there's sun. Today there's a lot of it actually. Now, in this kind of discourse, really, actually, we are expanding our heart. Our heart to include everything, everybody, all beings, not only human beings. What makes even Buddha's teaching here very interesting is that all living beings. That's where elephants are going to come in. Leopards and anacondas and all the piranha. No, you don't have piranhas. Taipan. You know what taipan? What's taipan? It's the most poisonous snake here. Yeah, you don't know? I saw it last time I came here, somebody took me to a zoo somewhere, not a zoo, a national park. We went somewhere, I don't know even remember who took me there, and we saw the most poisonous snake. I just have to send it loving kindness. Because here they're saying that whatever living being there may be, whether weak, strong, omitting none. So we should not omit anything. Right? When we do that actually, as you know that everything has a boomerang effect, then actually it comes to us that we don't actually hate ourselves, we start loving ourselves without omitting anything. Because there's a tendency, we human beings, try to love ourselves and then we cut off a little bit of something that we don't like. I don't like myself when that's what people would do. They will compartmentalize themselves. I say, I like one quality about myself, but I don't like this quality about me. I don't like when I get angry at my wife or my husband. I don't like it. So we start hating ourselves. So in other words, we divide ourselves into parts that we like about ourselves and what we don't like ourselves. I don't know about you. Yes, when you're in a hurry to go to work and all that, or take kids to work or what, and then you run out of time and then you really hate yourself. Again, I got late. Again, I didn't give the kids a lunch box in time. Again, this happened. Oh, again and again. So what will happen is always we're trying to look for faults ourselves. Right? So then we try not to have this embracing quality of the heart of loving kindness that includes everything. So this one, when it turns to ourselves, we should include everything about ourselves. I know one teacher dropped one, I think the best cup she loved, and she said, I love you. I love you, Sharon. That's what she said. So that portion of the of our life that we don't like, we should embrace it. Actually, anytime you feel that you goof, let's say you do something that you don't like, I say you can pet yourself. I love Mike. I love Chin Luke. I like myself. So you send loving kindness to yourself. Anytime you do something and say, instead of hitting yourself, oh, again I've done that mistake, you just put your hand, oh, I love Cora. Yes, do that many times a day. Eh? Anytime you goof, you do something wrong or unskillful and all that, where you hitting yourself, and so I don't like that I do this, I don't like this. You just do the opposite. You include every aspect of your life. I did actually one time that myself. I love you, Bhante. I did like that in Uganda. Something happened and all these things, and I was about to blame myself too harshly. I said, no, I love you, Bhante. No problem. So this is very, very important, to include all aspects of your life. Here it says that to include all beings, omitting none. We can extrapolate that to love all aspects of your life, excluding none. All right? This is very, very important. Let us continue. Let none deceive another or despise any beings in any state, let alone through anger or ill will, wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freedom from hatred and ill will. So now, I've already demonstrated how actually the discourse shows you how the loving kindness is a foundation for ethics. Now here, loving kindness becomes a foundation for concentration, because you cannot gain concentration when you have ill will and hatred, can you? Because in order to gain concentration, you must actually suspend, at least temporarily, the 5 hindrances. The 5 hindrances are desire for sensual pleasures, then ill will, then restlessness and worry, and then sloth and torpor, and then doubt. So now here in the practice, it's showing you how that you should be free from hatred and ill will. How are you going to be free from hatred and ill will? Of course, you can see when you practice metta loving kindness, there's what we call initial application of thought. In the beginning, you start practice of metta by getting a few phrases going, like may I be well up and peaceful, may I be healthy, may I be happy, may I live at ease. So initially, we start that thought, because metta is part of right thought in the Noble Eightfold Path. So we initiate that thought, all right, and we keep on sustaining. So in the beginning, once we start radiating these thoughts of loving kindness verbally first and then mentally, then actually what we are doing, we are overcoming sloth and torpor, because you cannot be fast asleep like this and send metta, can you? No, you can't be sleeping like this, oh, may all beings be well up and peaceful. No. But if actually you're awake, you can then initially send the thoughts of loving kindness, because you need to have to see the bright spots of others. In fact, you need mindfulness. I mean, you cannot send metta without mindfulness. Metta loving kindness, you must have mindfulness, and then you can see the positive quality of others and in fact yourself. So that's what we do when we practice metta loving kindness. We try to look at the positive quality of others. What the positive qualities, we try to neglect at the moment the negative qualities. Without doing that, we cannot send metta. So it's very, very important to have mindfulness, and we have to, some kind of vigilance and diligence as we radiate these phrases of metta loving kindness. So that will help to overcome sleepiness. And then once we sustain that thought, then we are going to overcome doubt, because we see it working. As we send this loving kindness, we see that we can feel it, we can feel happiness. Then we overcome doubt that, okay, this metta doesn't work, but we see it working, so we overcome doubt. We're very diligent and see this working. So further continue, if we continue practicing metta, loving kindness, we are actually going to gain some kind of joy, pity, because we see it, we are all radiating loving kindness in our heart. We see there's no problem. We love all beings, right? So there's some joy happening. And then when there's joy, when you have joy, of course, there's not going to be any ill will. When there's joy, there's no problem. And then happiness. Happiness also arises when you practice metta. And then when you have happiness, again, you are going not to have restlessness because the mind is very happy. And then we continue practice metta, then the mind is going to have concentration, one-pointedness of mind. All these actually are what we call jhanic factors. They might be weak in the very beginning, but that's the first level of concentration is defined in terms of jhanic factors. The first formula of concentration, where one gets happiness due to seclusion, it goes like this: quite secluded from unwholesome states of mind. Quite secluded from unwholesome states of mind. What are those unwholesome states of mind? Of course, is ill will, hatred, sloth and torpor, doubt, and restlessness and all that. So, quite secluded from unwholesome states of mind, one attains the first jhana, concentration, deep concentration, which has initial application of thought, sustained application of thought, joy, happiness, and one-pointedness of mind. Kusala chitta ekagata, one-pointedness state of mind. So you can see when you practice metta loving kindness, it becomes then a foundation for gaining concentration. Whether it's just a momentary concentration as you repeat these phrases of metta, or even as you continue to sustain the thought of loving kindness, you can gain concentration. So you can see most of the tradition those tradition who practice metta loving kindness, that's not what they do most of the time. Of course, we have these phrases, love all beings. Every tradition, Jewish, every religion have the concept of love, universal love, selfless love. But we can see we are using it in a deeper context of even gaining concentration to overcome these psychic irritants that leads us to anxiety and unhappiness and all that. So we are using this mental state actually to overcome this ill will and hatred, which actually leads to suffering. So we gain concentration. We go to another phrase which is also very interesting. Whether standing, walking, seated, or lying down, free from drowsiness. Again, you are freeing yourself from drowsiness, which is sloth and torpor. One should sustain this recollection. Where did we see this word of sustaining recollection? We saw it in sustained application of thought, which is a jhanic factor. Sustained application of thought, it has an idea of sustaining the recollection. Not only send one time, oh, may you be well up and peaceful. Yeah, let me take a cup of tea. I've finished my metta. I'm done. It doesn't work that way. Or you wait until you get angry. Oh yeah, where is my metta? Yeah, metta is a very good thing to practice. He said that it's very good to practice metta. Or then you are getting angry. May I be well up and peaceful. No. It has to be part of your daily life. It has to be part of the daily life, and it doesn't matter in your daily life whether you are standing, walking, sitting, or lying down. Every time. In fact, to gain benefits of metta, it has to be regular. Not only in fits and starts, right? It has to be something that you do in daily life. In fact, for me, whenever I wake up, many times I did that. Before I do something else, take a cup of coffee or go out bed, I spend time radiating loving kindness, metta loving kindness. Actually, that set up the stage for the day. That set up the stage for the day. We do know, when I don't know about Australia, But many places I go to teach, sometimes they drive in the morning to to go somewhere. I can see how it's very easy to lose loving kindness with drivers. I don't know about here in Melbourne. Maybe they don't cut you so much. When you're driving, then another driver who's having to go to a meeting, they cut you like that. And then another driver doesn't put on signals. Sometimes I just say, wow, we are just coming from the retreat sometime in Brazil. I've been teaching there for 3 months. We've been like for 9 days meditating and all that. Now we go back to where I was staying, and then I can see where the practice is actually. I found out that the practice was not so much on a cushion, but actually the practice was in a road. Motorbike, woo, they just swim. Actually, literally, motorbikes in Sao Paulo, in Brazil, because they don't have, there's a lot of traffic jams, so most people have resorted to buying motorcycles. So motorcycles swim in cars like this, actually. They don't follow one single lane, and again, leave alone motorcycles. They cars themselves. People don't put on sometimes indicators. So before you know where you are, the car's in front of you. What are you going to do? So I found out actually that there's many, many opportunities to practice metta loving kindness with your friends. In life, you will never be deprived of practicing metta. Don't worry. Your kids, your husband, wife, everything, To put a little bit of sense of humor, sometimes even I practice loving kindness to objects, even animals and birds and all these things. So I do that also. So it should be done any time. Don't wait until you're on cushion. Don't wait until you're on a cushion, my friend, to practice metta. Buddha says here that whether standing, walking, seated, or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be sublime abiding. But what's very interesting here, let me tell you something which is very interesting here. Titancharan sinova sayanova yavata savigatamido etam sati maditeya. Here, that's where the Buddha equated actually mindfulness. The word sati here means mindfulness. So actually, we should practice metta with loving kindness. Only when we practice metta loving kindness with sati, mindfulness, that's when it becomes a divine dwelling here. And that's what's missing most of the loving kindness that the people practice, that it doesn't have this quality of sati. The Pali word says clear, but here they say sustain this recollection. This is more of anusati. Recollection is anusati. But it's okay, no problem. At least there's a word, etam sati maditeya. Sati means mindfulness. We should actually send this loving kindness with sati. Now the question is, where is this sati in the Noble Eightfold Path? That's part of the Noble Eightfold Path, and that's part of what we call concentration group. You see? Sati is in what we call concentration group. So that means concentration is very, very important for this practice. Concentration supports loving kindness, and loving kindness supports concentration. So you see, it's a very deep practice. Metta loving kindness is not as simple as you think. Oh, it's just something I know metta. Oh, okay, of course, it's part of our culture, especially those who are born Buddhist. It's a very common teaching, but it's very profound, actually, very profound. What's even going to make it more profound is the last statement here. By not holding on to wrong views, the pure-hearted ones, having clarity of wisdom, vision, being free from all sensual desires, and is not born again into this world. It's called Ditinchan Anupagama Silava, Dasanena Sampano, Kamesu Vinaya Gedam, Nahijatugabaseyam Ponaretit. Now, in terms of our discussion, I told you that metta is a basis and support for ethical conduct, is a basis and support for the concentration, and the basis and support for wisdom. This is where wisdom kicks in. This is where wisdom kicks in. And in fact, there's one discourse in Majjhima Nikaya that instructs us how to switch metta loving kindness, the practice of metta loving kindness, to wisdom. How we switch is to see metta loving kindness as a thought. According to that discourse, metta loving kindness is a thought. Even actually compassion is a thought. That's part of right thought. Even mudita is also a thought, including equanimity. According to that discourse, equanimity is also thought. So how we are going to turn it to wisdom is actually seeing that thought as impermanent, seeing that thought as unsatisfactory, seeing that thought and also as anatta, non-self. So you can see gaining also now in vipassana. We switch to vipassana mode. Actually now we are leaving the area of samatha meditation where we focus metta loving kindness to gain concentration. Now we are going to an area of wisdom, seeing the true nature, seeing things in detail, seeing things the way how they really are. And then once we do that, we can attain various level of sainthood. To be able to actually reach this stage, this is actually called the third level. This is not born again in this world. Who is this person who is not born again in this world? He's called anagami, non-returner. There is what we call once returner. The first level is called sowan, sotipana. Then another one is called sakatagami. Another one is called anagami. Ana means not ana. Agami going, anagami not going, not coming back. In other words. Who is that person? It's the third level of enlightenment. When somebody reaches third level of enlightenment, that means he has done some practice. Not just only repeating dry words, oh, may all beings be well upon peaceful. No, the person to do that must be practicing the Noble Eightfold Path. In order to reach this stage, because Sotapanna means Sota. Sota means the Noble Eightfold Path. How are you going to reach not to be born again in this world? You must go through the first level of enlightenment, which is called Sotapanna. Sota has one meaning of Sota is the ear. Another meaning of Sota is the stream. Another meaning of Sota is actually the Noble Eightfold Path. So in other words, this practice takes you to enter into the Noble Eightfold Path. And then you attain this first level, second level, and then third level of sainthood. And in fact, one of the benefits, which is not mentioned here, that if you are unable to gain all the way to enlightenment, that's what it says. If you are unable to attain final enlightenment, the 11th benefit, you are born in Brahma world. Do you know about this 11th benefit? You know all the benefits of practice metta. There are 11 of them. And the 11th benefit is that if you are unable to attain full enlightenment, the consolation prize is you are born again. You just open your eyes like this. In order to appear in the Brahma world, you just open your eyes like this. Very easy. And in fact, the 10th benefits about if you die peacefully, it's like closing your eyes. Kaput. You die peacefully, it's like closing your eyes. Now the 11th benefit is like opening your eyes. Imagine when you wake up, you do like this in the morning. Do you remember when you wake up? Are you mindful when you wake up? You wake up like this. Brahma world. Now, why would you not be able to attain the final enlightenment? Do you know the reason? The reason why you would not be able to attain the final enlightenment with this practice is called Dhamma raga. Raga means gluing. Raga. And Dhamma is gluing to the Dhamma. Even gluing yourself to the Dhamma can be an obstacle. You need to get rid of that in order actually to attain the final level of enlightenment, which is called arahantship. So some people, when they actually practice this practice, they might be glued a little bit to the Dhamma practice. And, and when they say metta loving kindness and all these things, they might still have some kind of attachment to some states of mind, peaceful states of mind. So when they let go finally that, you attain final enlightenment. With that, I wish you success, in attaining final enlightenment, and really practice metta deeply, not the way other people practice it, right? Don't make this teaching of the Buddha commonplace. Oh, I've heard about metta. Oh, what's that? We want to go to jhanas. We want to go to dependent ordination. We want to speak about anatta. This teaching is so easy. No, please, this teaching is very profound. You have to put it in a context, right? So that's my offering for you today. Thank you very much for listening. So as usual, I invite questions. If you have any question about what I've said, we have a few moments for questions, because I found out in a question that's the time for me to learn something. Please give me something to learn. Be kind enough. Have metta on me. At least I volunteer to be the object of your metta. Okay, the same person asked me last time also. I can see. Yeah, I know. You can ask, no problem. You know, it's a good karma to ask questions. Did you know that? Yeah. When you are born, you're born wise. Okay, that's according to Karma Vibhanga Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. Okay, please ask.
In terms of sending metta to someone, there's some monks that actually say that you cannot send direct metta, you cannot practice metta directly, and then you get rid of anger. Because sometimes you're so angry, you cannot switch your mind immediately. So what is the step from anger and slowly moving towards a mind of metta? Let's say I do my work, I get scolded. How do I still send metta to this person? Like, yeah. Did you get my question?
Most of the questions.
Right away. What are the steps that you can take towards?
Okay. Actually, the thing is, metta is an antidote to anger. Metta is an antidote to anger. You see? So, you can practice metta anytime. Anytime, you can practice metta. But I think what they are cautioning people when they tell you is not to wait until you're angry, then you practice metta to and the angry person. So you have to start with yourself, and then others and all that. For me, what I found out that is going to help me, my situation, is actually to first see the good qualities about the person who is scolding you. Actually, it's very interesting that people who scold you, or people who actually push your button, at one time they have been friends. They have been helpful. Okay, let's say he's a boss. Your boss. I'm just giving a scenario. Don't you think at one time he has been good to you? Giving you a job? Giving you a salary in time? And all that? So, for me, what I would do, I would actually first... this is a transition. I'm talking about this transition. Instead of saying, may you be well up and peaceful, and they are fuming with anger, or may you be well up and oh, may you make me more angry. No. So, first I would think, what are the positive qualities about that person? You remember the metta has one, I gave you the characteristics of metta, but there's a proximity cause for metta to arise. What's the proximity cause? The proximity cause for metta to arise is to see the positive quality in others. Failure to see the positive quality of others, forget about it. If someone is now your boss in that moment, is giving you a hard time, that means you are not focusing on a positive quality. You are focusing on the negative quality. That's what makes metta difficult at that moment, when you focus on negative quality. That's why those people say, oh, you know, when somebody is giving you anger and you send metta, it might get worse because you are focusing on a negative quality. But should you focus on the positive quality of somebody, then there's no problem. There's nowhere in the scriptures where the Buddha said don't practice metta loving kindness to a difficult person. I don't see any such. It's not substantiated anywhere in the discourses where the Buddha says if you are angry, don't send metta. Wait a little bit for 2 minutes. Or no. So the thing is that to remember, in fact, the way to practice metta loving kindness, every time, whichever category you are doing, you have to focus on positive quality. Let's say if you want to send loving kindness to yourself, don't just say, may I be well up and peaceful, may I be well up and peaceful. It will be just like words, empty words. Try to see some good quality you love about yourself. Maybe you've been very kind, you've been very helpful, you've been very generous. Yeah? Find out some positive quality you like about yourself, and then you arouse some kind of positive emotion. And then from that place, it's very easy to radiate loving kindness. That may I be well up and peaceful. Because it's landing on fertile soil. Then you go to friends, you don't say, oh, my friends, may you be well up and peaceful. No. First find out, oh, what the positive quality about my friend? Oh, they gave me some ice cream. Oh, they gave me some chocolate. Some kind of thing like that. Then you think about, they have been very kind. Give me some advice, spiritual advice. They've been good companions in my life. My husband is a good companion in my life. My wife is a companion in my life. You find good things about somebody and then send loving kindness. And then when you reach to a neutral person, those people who drop mail and all this kind of thing, you never talk to them. How are you going to send loving kindness to them without focusing on positive qualities? The best neutral person you can send loving kindness is the people who remove garbage. You don't talk to them. Do you have them in Australia? People who remove garbage on a certain date, those people, you never talk to them, but are very important in your life. If they riot, actually, within 2 weeks or 1 month without removing those things, you'll see really how important they are. So you now start focusing on the positive quality of the neutral people. For example, people who remove their garbage. You say, oh, if these people don't remove the rubbish, I will be really very uncomfortable. So then you send. So then the same thing with the difficult person. At least in my life, all people have been difficult in my life. At one time or the other, they have been my best friends. Best friends. And I set a higher standard. It's called projection. And when we set higher standards, we expect that they will never disappoint us. And then when they disappoint us, we crash. Totally we crash down. Even if they have done 100 good things, they do only one bad thing, we crash. So try to think about the positive quality. And then all beings, you try to even look at your watch you're putting on, t-shirt and pair of trousers and all that. Without the beings, you won't be able to do this. So you think about positive quality about others. So that's my answer. Yes, your boss, don't wait and go to the book and read about loving kindness and then later on send loving kindness. No. Send loving kindness first by focusing on positive quality. But more so, my advice is to make it as a general practice in your life when you're driving, when you're sitting, when you're walking, so that when you come to that point where your boss actually annoy you, then it's more available. Lastly, I would like to say methods like cultivating methods like a booster pump. You have this pump where you have to pump water from lower level to higher place in a tank. In a city they have. In order, the water you get, there must be somewhere, pumped somewhere. And then there's a big tank, which is very, very high. So that's a lot of money, energy. In fact, in Melbourne, I think they had to install that plant to turn salt water into rainwater. It's a big undertaking. And they have to pump it somewhere which is higher than any house here. Now, once that water actually is pumped in the tank, now going to the house, it just flows naturally. But the flow from the lake, this is a common thing in Africa, it's very difficult to pump water from the valley to the hill. But once it's reached the house, it naturally flows. So if you understand that analogy, is that in your daily life, it might be difficult to cultivate this quality of the heart. It takes time, and you have to do it systematically. But when it comes to using, to application, it will be natural. Even when you face a difficult person, it will just flow naturally. That's how it flowed last time when somebody told me that I'm going to hell. I didn't fight with them. I said, I will take a jumbo jet. I will go there faster than you. I didn't do all those kind of things. No, it's just naturally. You are there, right there, actually. Once you do your homework, when a situation provokes you that actually are going to lead to provocation, it just flows naturally. Like when you open water in a tap, do you struggle a lot? You just open it and it's available. But don't think that's what happened to people who have to pump it from there. Yeah, so there's some work you have to do. Do your homework so that even when your boss provokes you, you can say, turn a smile. Me, I do it all the time in Uganda. People provoke me a lot. You think I'm a monk, I'm fine? No. I go to Uganda, people say, oh, you are going to a mental hospital. Oh, coming. Then I turn like this. I just smile. What are you going to do? Somebody say you are going to a mental hospital and you've been meditating almost for 2 hours? What are you going to do? Are you going to get angry at them? No. So practice metta loving kindness, my friend. Okay, another question.
Buddha gave the discourse to monks who have fear of practicing in the jungle.
Yes.
Fear. So I can say that how you can neutralize fear, which is one of the biggest cause of suffering for human beings, by really loving everybody unconditionally, and then you don't have enemies. Because even if you are in a place of trouble, if you are having loving kindness to that person, you have no fear because you are not scared. And then you develop a mind state of non-fear in the mind by practicing, then you are one of the biggest cause of suffering is lifted.
Is fear.
Fear.
Actually, according to the commentary to this discourse, it's in a commentary that monks actually had a hard time. They went to practice for 3 months, and then they went to the forests and they met goblins and with all this kind of smell. You know, they were having a good time, all these invisible beings. But the monks went to disturb their place, you know. So they caused a lot of smell, and the monks could not meditate. And then the monks went to the Buddha and said, please don't send us there. We cannot meditate. The Buddha said, oh, you know, this time I'm going to give you the best tool that you can use to go and practice there. So according to the comment, the Buddha taught this discourse on loving kindness. And then when the monks went there, there was no fear. In fact, they all living beings, visible, invisible beings, goblin and all these ghosts, they all start loving them, and they meditated actually for finish the 3 months, right? So the question is, how do you practice loving kindness to overcome fear? That's the question, right? Because fear is the biggest cause of suffering. That's the question. So that actually triggers me, triggers some interest in me to give a talk about fear. I think next time, do I have a Sunday to give a talk about fear? Yes, I'll give a whole frigid talk about fear. Next time, if you have fear, please come. If you have fear about nothing, please still come. Or if you are planning to have fear, you are welcome again. So, in short, let us look at fear. Fear actually, how Metta overcomes fear, because I'll give a Dhamma talk, let us say for Dhamma talk. Meantime, I just want to tell you about this, that fear is actually part of aversion. Aversion? Hatred? Yes, aversion. Yeah, it's part of it. It's not something hanging there, it's part of it. When you want present dangers there, then fear arises. Future, then anxiety. So then when we know that, okay, we can track down where fear is coming, it's because you don't like to face the situation. And why do you like to face this? First, we trace fear to anger, ill will, and all other mental states. Then we can also go a little bit further. Before even we go further, what's the antidote to aversion? Aversion, anger, ill will, it's metta. So if you send metta, loving kindness, you are counteracting what? Aversion, and then ill will and anger, then there's no fear. And then we get a little bit further actually, psychological underpinning of this state. Where does anger come from, and the aversion and ill will? It comes from attachment, desire. But desire, because it's bipolar, one desire to get, another one is desire to push away. So desire to push away things, that brings aversion and then fear. So in other words, if you can overcome craving, then you also are overcoming fear. In fact, there's one phrase in Dhammapada that I can point to you. The Buddha says in Dhammapada, from craving springs fear. From craving springs sorrow. From passion, he went on from endearment, and this is like almost four verses in the Dhammapada. Then it continues saying, where there is no craving, where is fear? That means you can also eliminate fear from eliminating craving. Now we get a little bit further. Where does this craving come from? And to push away things. Why do you crave to push away things away? Things that you don't want. There's ignorance. That means you are ignoring. Good luck if you want to push away weather. If you don't want bad weather and you try to push it away, you can, of course. You are ignoring that these things you cannot do it by just pushing it away. So there's some underlying tenets of ignorance. Moha and this kind of vidya. Okay, so now in order to address that one, also you have to practice other teachings. Not only Metta can help to overcome fear, but we have to practice other teachings that actually counteracts the roots that nourishes fear. We have to go down slowly by slowly. Then we can practice insight meditation and gain wisdom so that we see, oh, why am I always afraid? It's because of a sense of self. And that's a delusion. Every time there's a sense of self, then there's a separation from what's the oneself and others. Not that there's no yourself as a human being. There is, of course. But in other words, there's a tendency always to separate yourself from others. This is my boss. This is me. So you see that kind of separation. And then there's always a lot of fear. In fact, this is a trick. I'm not using it now. But in the beginning, when I was giving Dhamma talks, I was a little bit nervous. Especially giving Dhamma talk when Bhante Gunaratana is sitting next to me. Bhante Gunaratana is my teacher. One time, a couple of times actually, one time it was a teacher's training course, and I chose to give a talk on Abhidhamma, Buddhist psychology, because I had done a crash course in Burma, and my teacher was a very good scholar. He was my teacher, Venerable U Silananda, also later on. He's actually was an Abhidhamma authority, an authority on Abhidhamma. So I had that strength and guts. And then when I was going to give a talk, Bhante Gunaratana said, you're going to give a talk on Buddhist psychology? I've never listened to this talk also. I'm going to come to listen. I said, I wouldn't have told him. Okay. Then he sat there. So giving a talk on somebody who then when he was 12 and is now 80, it's a little bit scary actually. Yeah, now he's actually 87, but every time, even another time, he always come to be there to listen. After that, I got used to him actually. Because I knew everything he knew. Yeah? I knew because he has this kind of memory, photographic memory. Yes, and he knows a lot of Dhamma and all that. But in my training, that was our training. You give a talk when he is there. So what are you going to say? In fact, later on I pleaded. I said, please tell me if I go wrong. So every time I finish giving Dhamma talk, I will go to him and say, is there anything wrong I said? Please tell. He said, yeah. So anyway, this is what I did to counteract fear. I would say, I'm giving Dhamma talk to my brothers. He's my brother. He's my sister. He's my friend. So now, there was no separation. But if I separate, this is me, and these are those listening to me, looking for my mistakes, I was going to having a lot of fear. So this is what I did. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Don't separate. Don't separate, Metta and all these things. So time is up. Thank you very much for asking these questions.